Remember when you ran away and I got on my knees and begged you not to leave because I'd go berserk? Well, you left me anyhow, and then the days got worse and worse, and now you see I've gone completely out of my mind. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha, to the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time, and I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats, and they're coming to take me away, ha-ha!
There's no doubt in my mind that the gayness was planning on the events about to unfold. Somewhere in his calculating Capricorn brain, he knew what was going to happen when he gave me that link to Sexy Jobs. Kat and I eventually got into an argument over something. I think I may have told her that I was planning on doing as many shoots as possible, and it caused her to throw a full-length lamp in my direction, to which I threw a book in return. Things were on the verge of getting physical, causing everyone to get involved, namely Kat's bigger brother, who was now on his way into our room. The gayness was hiding behind Grams in the den, egging the situation on, when Kat's very larger and older brother sternly suggested that I leave the premises. Everyone was yelling. Everyone was fighting. Even our cats were fighting recently. It was complete chaos. Kat had finally unleashed the full force of her temper on me. And the verdict? Everyone wanted me out. Not pack up and move out, just get out. No clothes, no personal items, just get the fuck out. Now. I was really scared I might not ever see my stuff again, so naturally I disagreed. And that's when her brother stepped forward. Remember that when I said how I love the medieval times and swords, and how I always kept some medieval weaponry near any major house landmarks? Yeah. Well, luckily, I was near the computer desk. Wasn't this electric bug zapper? Well, that's the bathroom. No, that one is, I believe that one's next to the bed. Which one? The Spike Club? No. No, that one's near the front door. Oh, here it is. I ain't leaving without my stuff, mofos. You know what I'm saying. So, I was now standing there with a katana aimed at everyone. The whole room went silent as they waited to see if I was going to go on a rampage or commit hara-kiri. I told them that I was not leaving without some of my stuff. My whole freaking life was in that room. Even my cat. Which, to be honest, I never really liked that thing much anyway. Cats are just too private. But aside from that, I told everyone to back off and let me pack my clothes. I swiftly threw what I could into my travel bag and then relocated to that shitty cougar, removing it from their driveway and parking it across the street. Then all I did was sit there. What the hell else was I supposed to do? This happened just after work, and it was now late in the day. This fucking sucked. I don't remember too many of the details following my departure. I do know that I made a call to my old coke dealer. Instinctively, it just seemed like the most logical thing to do. So, I picked up a few grams and went back to sitting in my car. Then, around 1 or 2 a.m., I decided to go for a walk. There's a well-known bridge connecting Portland to Middletown, the Aragoni Bridge, and it crosses over the Connecticut River with a protected sidewalk on each side of the road. But from there, there's really not all that much to stop someone from climbing the fence. I'd known all along that it was a common place from which people would often jump, so in the darkness of the night, I walked to the overpass, where I'd end up spending several long hours contemplating the plunge. I thought long and hard about taking the fall, and for all the grounds to do so, only one came to mind to convince me otherwise. See, I've been rather lucky in my life thus far. So many car accidents had I survived, the way my change just worked itself out. Fate had apparently been on my side along the way, and I figured that even if I did jump over, all I'd end up getting was wet. So I nixed the idea and just laid there on the sidewalk. I eventually gave up and made the trek back to my car, where I said screw it and drove to work, where the next day was to suck ass. I can recall not wanting anyone's help, or at least not wanting to ask for it. I officially hated everyone there except my shopping buddy and this one guy, both whom were married and I didn't want seeing me like this. At the end of the day, I again restocked my Coke supply. This was far from over. Not ready to confront Kat or Grams about my stuff, I decided to call the hermit to see if I could spend the night. He thankfully said that I could come by and spend the night in my old room, and I told him that things were pretty bad, and that I just wanted to be alone. But what I really meant was leave me be so that I can try and kill myself. I took so many freaking codeines, a handful of Klonopin, and snorted almost an entire 8-ball of Coke before removing the strap from my purse and wrapping it around my neck. I eventually passed out, but my body was reluctant to die. The last thing I remember was locking myself in my old bedroom and then opening my eyes almost a full day later. It was dark outside when I passed out, and still dark outside when I woke up. I had missed an entire days of work. I was confused as hell and completely pissed that I'd woken up in the first place, and the hermit, being the hermit he was, never even came to check up on me. Christine was now long gone, and so was everyone else. There was nothing but complete silence. So after waking up the next night, I drove around some before ending back at work. I again spent another night in the parking lot, half sleeping and half doing coke in the back seat of my car. My entire world was collapsing before me, and I was prepared to go down in flames. I then said screw it and tried my hardest to do the world's biggest line in an attempt to get my heart to give out before eating the remaining codeines. Then I simply made my way to my desk. It was still really early, so much earlier than I'd ever gotten to work before, so I wrote a lengthy goodbye letter to the gender form while waiting for something to happen. It wasn't long before I began to pass out on my keyboard. I vaguely remember Boss One from New Jersey asking me what was wrong. Maybe it was his familiar face, but I told him that he should probably call 911. Who knows how many people saw me like that? However, instead of calling 911, he had the HR lady drive me to the hospital. I guess they didn't want to make a scene. I was then taken to the emergency room where I got a blood panel after they made me drink charcoal and ipecac. And that's where I stayed for a good day or two. And wouldn't you know, the blood test came back saying that I was as healthy as can be. The quarter ounce of coke did nothing. The half bottle of codeine did nothing. Nothing happened whatsoever. At the time, I kind of wished it had. And in some parallel universe, I'm sure there's at least one gravestone with my name on it. But not this one. This was specifically why I chose not to jump off the bridge. The next thing I remember, I was at my shrink's office where he was now doing an evaluation, and when he finished, he asked if I wanted to be admitted to a psychiatric hospital. I briefly considered the suggestion before accepting. I don't really think I believed I was talking to him in the first place, and to this day, I still can't even recall how the hell I got there. But in reality, I did have a meeting with him, and I had just admitted myself to Hellbrook in southern Connecticut. I really was going to a mental home. Unfortunately, I do not have any pictures of me in a straitjacket, as it would have made a pretty cool photo shoot. Sorry. So my time in the mental home was actually quite relaxing. You get to wear pajamas every day and eat all the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches you desire while relaxing in an atmosphere that's quite peaceful. If you're in a mood, they have a pill to counteract whichever mood that might be. Just stand in line and hold out your hand. You can watch all the TV you want and do all sorts of various activities to keep you occupied. Yeah, some people really do belong in there and just sit around drooling on themselves all day. It is pretty gross. However, my 2-week stay delivered some much needed rest. After that, my mom came up from New Jersey to collect me, but rather taking me back to that hellhole. I was able to work out a stay at Kat's cousin's house while I looked for a new place to live. From there, it was off to Kat's to gather some of my things. The dressers and such would have to wait until I found a place, but Pike said he'd help me move the bigger things when I was ready. But the plot was yet to thicken. Kat knew that I was on my way back, and had since armed herself with her new boyfriend. The gayness! To say I was surprised would be a massive understatement. She actually said she felt pretty guilty for what had happened and apologized profusely, but to be honest, I didn't blame her for any of it. After all, I was the one who fucked everything up. True, she did have one hell of a temper, but she was dealing with her own issues. I did, however, blame the gayness and Grams, and I also blamed Kat's brother. But I never truly blamed Kat, not even when she handed me my dead kitten in a garbage bag, whom had been run over by a car the day before I returned. I always told her not to let my cat be an outdoor animal, but she insisted that she'd be okay. I wasn't really all that upset, though, and I think I horrified her when, after she handed me Samantha, I scooped up her bloody remains and walked them to the back of the house to collect my thoughts. Kat told me that the person who hit Samantha had apologized, but it didn't really matter, as there simply wasn't any room left in my life to be responsible for anything, not even a houseplant. I gathered the necessities and moved in with Kat's cousin the same day, but not before chewing a tiny hole in the raft Kat and I bought in hopes that her and the gayness would sink to the bottom of the lake when they went to go use it. Kat later told me that she kinda looked up to me concerning my transition, and finally admitted that she intended on getting a sex change herself. I wasn't the least bit surprised.